Verás nacer el emprendedor dentro de ti.
Descubre tu crecimiento personal.
Encuentra la motivación para obtener el mayor éxito.
Alcanza la libertad financiera para ser tu propio jefe.
Esto es
Sé el jefe.
Sé el jefe con Héctor RC.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? Mi nombre es Héctor Rodríguez Curvelo. Doy la bienvenida una vez más al podcast Sé el Jefe. Hoy vamos a tener una entrevista muy especial en inglés con una invitada muy particular que a quien ya tuvimos en el podcast años atrás. Estamos hablando hace 4 años. Sara Nyström desde Suecia. Como te decía, hoy vamos a tener una entrevista muy especial en inglés, así que a partir de ahora cambiemos el idioma, cambien el canal, porque tenemos una nueva participación espectacular internacional dentro de la temporada 4 del podcast El Jefe. Temporada 4 que está presentada por Welcome Coin, ya les dije, la criptomoneda con la que estamos intentando cambiar el mundo. Empezamos entonces, te doy la bienvenida. Sara Nyström, how are you, Sara? It's a pleasure to have you with us once more.
Hi, Hector. Great to be back. Thanks for having me again. Buenos días a todos los que hablan español, pero hoy vamos a hablar en inglés. Así
Es
que,
cierto, la entrevista
let's go
pasada,
ahead.
los que quieren escuchar sobre
Sí.
Sara, busquen en el podcast hace 4 años atrás, en español, 100% de entrevista,
Sí.
hoy
Sí.
en inglés. So, Sara, okay, before we start, how are you? How are you doing? What has happened these
Oh.
past 4 years?
I am better than ever. I am amazingly well. Thank you for asking, Hector. It's been a journey, and I know we're going to talk about that very soon.
Yes. For those who doesn't know, I'm gonna briefly tell you who Sara is. Sara, well, first of all, an amazing human being. That goes without saying. But also, she's an author. We're gonna talk about her new book briefly. She's an entrepreneur, a woman of many countries, many nations. She has traveled around the world. She knows everybody and everything, and with an amazing life experience. And again, I want to let her to tell you who she is and what she's all about. But I want you to know that Sara is a person that you want to know. It's someone you want to meet and you want to hear about. So, Sara, please share with the audience, who is Sara Nyström?
Thank you so much, Hector, for that warm welcome. So who I am, that's what your question. So I am Sara Nyström, as you said. I'm born in Sweden, but I always felt connected to the world. I always felt pulled out there to the world. My country has given me so many things that I'm grateful for, but Sweden is a very small country, only 10 million inhabitants. And so once you've spent so much time out of a small country like mine, you connect. That's my case. I connect more with the world today than with my own country. I have my own culture. I don't have my own language yet, but I have my own culture. And so the world has taught me so many things. I have been very fortunate in life to, I have several university degrees, but I can tell you, Hector, that nothing has taught me so much as my years around the world, solo traveling, also a solo adventurer. I did many, physical adventures too. I love outdoor, challenges and such. So all my journeys around the world and all my adventures have taught me so much. And now I am gathering everything I've learned into a new concept. So yeah, basically, somebody asked me because I was recently in Nigeria and I gave a few speeches there, and I was asked to share my experience. I was actually invited to inaugurate a new travel company. And so I would cut the ribbon and everything. And I was asked to share from my travel experience. And they asked me, how many countries have you been to? And I didn't know. I never counted. So I found this app, and I found that I have lived in or visited 70 countries on 5 continents. I had no ideas about that. So it's about almost 30%. So I have 70% to go, and I can't wait to keep visiting new countries and new parts of the world, because with every country we can learn something new. So with that being said, my studies, my work, my experiences from around the world have taught me so many things, and also my languages. This is why, por eso que hablo español, ¿no? I speak Spanish and I speak 8 languages. I'm now learning Yoruba, which is going to be my 9th language. And language, by the way, opens so many doors, connects you with people because you show respect when you speak their language, right?
Yes.
So those who listen, learn as many languages as you can, or at least one foreign language. and that's going to help you so much. You don't have to speak 10 languages.
A wise man said that when if you can communicate with someone with an intermediate language, you can reach their mind. But if you talk with them with their language, you reach their heart. And that's so much
exactly
true.
It's exactly like that. I used to work for a number of years in Swedish migration agency. We're not going to go deep into that, but just to share with you, just as a response to what you just said, I used to carry in my back pocket, Hector, a small booklet, a tiny book, and I had like 5 or 6 words or phrases in maybe 15 languages, like Dari, Arabic, Farsi, Somali. So I use these little phrases, just greeting them, asking to sit down, because a lot of people came stressed, nervous, and for me, just showing my respect, say something in their language, you set the whole stage.
Yes,
I got just using 1 minute or half a minute, even a minute, gave me everything back, and I got so much positive comments.
That's such a kind
for that
thing to do as well.
Yeah, it's a kind thing, but it's also a smart kind, because it came from my heart. I didn't do it to be smart, but it is actually quite smart when you look at it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
and that's communication. That's building relationships. That's what I work with today.
Communication. That's an important word in your life, isn't it?
Very much, very much. It's Hector, I think that we have all been born with gifts. There is not a single human being who doesn't have a gift. You agree? I know you agree with me. Like, absolutely. There may be people listening and they think that I don't have any gift, but we all have. There is not a single person.
If you're thinking like that, you do have a gift. That's correct.
You do have a gift. So life, I think, is about discovering that gift. And sometimes it could take a big part of your life, and that's okay, because during that time, we prepare ourselves, So we discover our gifts, and then we evolve it. And then once we have, and that's what I have reached now, I am going to share my gift. So I'm going to share, because I found my gift, I evolved it without knowing it really, and now I am to share it. So that's all about communication. We were talking
before about the gift and finding it, and knowing how we haven't spoken in a few years before this, and you mentioned to me something that happened specifically, that you were not expecting, that kind of changed the angle in which you were moving ahead. So please share the story with the audience.
Yeah, I'll share that. So thank you, Hector. So I actually, from a very young age, I had the sensation within that I have a special mission. I just didn't know what it was, and perhaps that's why I've been driven around the world. I've been searching without knowing what I've been searching for. I had this restlessness. And by the end of 2018, I started my own company. At that time, I was teaching body language, microfacial expressions, which we talked about during our last interview.
Yes.
I just got started back then. That has to do with communication, right? It's a journey. Those who listen, who are entrepreneurs, being have your own company is a journey, is an adventure. And
oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. I was on that journey. I've been on that journey for quite some time, and it's been up and down, and a lot of challenges and a lot of growth, personal growth. And during those years that passed, that we have, since our last interview, everything that could change in my life, I have changed. I've been on a personal journey, changed many things in my personal life, but also my business has evolved, and that's what we're going to get to that. So I basically left my job. I resigned from 12 years of employment with a migration agency. I had a decent job. I was part of the management team. I had a lot of responsibility. I had a decent salary, but I knew it wasn't for me. And time came for me just to decide, am I going to stay? I'm going to leave. I left. And it was a risk, right? I didn't know. 2 weeks later, COVID hit. So I had to shut my business down because I wasn't ready to go online. Yeah, it was bad timing. But it wasn't bad timing. We can think, it seems like bad timing. Oh, but it wasn't, because I've come to believe that there is a meaning with everything that happens. I was meant to be off. I was looking for a job. I had to start looking for a job. So while I was looking for a job, I also, in the back of the mind, I started working on what I do today. So it gave me time. It gave me space to prepare for my mission. So today I'm grateful for everything that happened. So when bad things happen, and I've seen it over and over again, we're going to talk more about that in a while. The terrible things, or the bad things that happen, they always come with something good. And I think life is about learning to see that instead of panicking, because that's what we usually do. We panic, or we're like, oh no, that we have to stop ourselves that moment. And it may take some time for us to realize what's good about what can't possibly be good with this, right? But there is always something good. So what happened towards the end of that challenging year, well, also both at a personal level, and with my company, everything at once, like, but in my heart, I had faith. In my heart, I was thinking, yeah, good things are going to come. Because you see, I'm a mind trainer. Those who don't know that, I'm a mind trainer. So I have worked many years with my own attitude, my own mind. And once we always have that strength. So towards the end of that year, I hung up the phone with a friend of mine, a late night phone call. And all of a sudden, Hector, the moment came. The moment came, and it was something I have never experienced before, because I felt compelled to start writing, and it was almost as if my hand were writing by itself. I know it sounds crazy. It sounds like, like this psychic experience. It was, I would say, in intuitive writing. Maybe I wasn't thinking much. Of course, a little bit, but mostly was just the words were just flowing, like downloading, right? So what I created was the Communication Queen concept, and I think it was 5 steps. The first version was 5 steps. Today I've expanded it to 7 steps. So 7 steps to help women around the world to become more confident, charismatic, and impactful in their communication. So I look back at my life today, Hector, and I see that life really prepared me. I was born with a certain set of gifts. But during my years around the world by myself, I got to polish and develop and evolve these gifts and talents. And now I am as ready as I can be to share them with each and every woman around the world, so that she too can unleash her inner queen. Because we are all born to be queens. But all of us, we've been programmed not to see that. We've been programmed to take a step back and care for others. Like, that's a classic of what women do, right? We care about others. So then we evolve. We have this lack of self-esteem, self-confidence, self-love. And that in turn affects the way we communicate, right?
And you said something important, and many things were important, but one of them that stuck in my mind, when you said life prepares you.
Yeah.
And life did that with you, right? Because you got this. I love the concept, downloading. You started downloading from the universe, downloading all this information through your,
and maybe things that I've been gathering for 25 years. They were there without me knowing it, and then the universe and
like
everything.
A cloud full of water. The cloud was ready to rain.
I was so amazed by it all. I was surprised myself, and I couldn't believe it. And I posted it on Facebook. That's what I do. I'm very active on Facebook, specifically Facebook. And at that time, I had never got so many likes. I mean, I posted, I'm gonna do this, and very, very quickly I got hundreds of likes, like I think 250, almost 300 likes. And I couldn't believe it. What's going on? Within 30 minutes, Hector, the phone rang, right, and I was invited to speak at an online conference in Africa, like a Pan-African organization having a women's empowerment event. And only like 3 weeks later, I think I was speaking about the ink had barely dried on the paper, and I was there speaking to whole Africa, right? That was amazing. And that was a sign to me that I'm onto something, right? I'm onto my purpose. And I was also invited to co-found a global non-government organization. Now, 4 years later, I am still one of the co-founders of World Women Organization. So we help women around the world. We work for women to become leaders on all levels of society, right? So, but it all goes hand in hand.
For a minute, let's talk there for a minute, because every time I speak with someone of your caliber, these stories come up. And we talked about this yesterday. We had I had the pleasure to speak 2 hours yesterday with Sara.
Yeah.
I call it the domino, the universe, the domino in the universe effect. We were talking about it, that when you want to push forward to whatever big goal in life, usually we get lost because we don't know how we're going to make it. We have these big dreams or goals, and we don't know how we're going to make them. And when we were discussing, talking about the same things, how the universe starts putting dominoes in front of you, you just need to be strong enough to push them so they keep falling. And think about this: you quit your job, ready to start everything, and then COVID hit. Boom, dreams went down the drain, or so you thought. Get another job. In that desperation, boom, the downloading of this information. You posted that, and immediately phone started to ring, opportunities started to appear, in different parts of the world, not in Sweden or around the corner, like in different areas of the world. That's insane.
It was crazy. It was really crazy. And I believe that when we are bold, we said that yesterday too, didn't we, Hector? When we are brave, when we dare to follow our heart, because that's what I did, then we will get help. Whether you believe in God or
Yes.
universe or whatever, it doesn't matter. But I really believe that we will get help when we just show faith and bravery and the guts to follow our heart. And that's not an easy thing. That takes a lot because our heart is crazy. Our mind is very rational. Our mind is there to protect us from dangers, both real dangers, but also perceived dangers. Most of the things that we imagine are not real. They are just, things that we are afraid could happen, our fears, right? But here in the heart, we don't have fears. We have wisdom here. But because we don't have fears in our heart, that's what I've come to believe. Things may seem crazy. So if we start listening to our heart, people around us will start thinking we're crazy first of all, and we may think we are crazy because what comes from there, it can be pretty crazy. But if we just go with it, and we trust it, it takes a lot to do that.
Trust the process.
It will come. The help will come.
And
because
it's sorry to interrupt, because going back into the life will teach you, right? Like life is a lesson. It doesn't always go the way we want it to go. And
he doesn't want to go the way we expect it to go. Maybe
we expect it to go. Okay.
But in the end, it goes. In the end, it goes where we want it.
We expect it to go in the timing that we expect it to go. Eventually, if you keep pushing forward, you get there. But what I wanted to go to, because people might be listening. Oh my, amazing! So she had all of these problems, and then magic happened, and then boom, success. No, because something happened in between. Something happened in between that could have broken anyone. Please share that story, because this is just yet another lesson.
And before sharing that, I'll take one step back because I'm going to set the ground for that story. So I'm going to bring you back to 2020. That ended with me downloading all of that. But that year was the struggle in many ways, because I also realized that my relationship, I wasn't happy with my work. I wasn't happy with my relationship. I wasn't living from my heart. I felt I was living more from my head. I realized that about myself, that I wasn't really in a good place. Like from the outside, I had success. I had relationship. I just bought a beautiful house. We're renovating the house. We had a little son. We had adopted our son. He was how old was he at the time? 6 years old at the time, 2020, and a decent salary, a responsible job. Everything was like okay. It was a good life, right? From the outside. But was I happy in my heart? No, I wasn't happy in my heart. Why? Because I wasn't fulfilling my, the purpose. I believe we have purposes here, right? So when I decided I did all of that at once. I didn't mention that. I actually ended my relationship at the same time as I lost my job. And things were pretty crazy. But as I said before, I had faith because I had worked on my mind before, and we can work on our muscles to be strong. We can also work on our mind to be strong, right? So you could think that maybe I was, crying all 2020. I wasn't. I trust that things will move forward. Did I have my low moments? Of course I had my low moments. We all have. We're all humans. But it's about bringing ourselves up again. And we go down and we can bring ourselves up again, right? So I'm going to come to that. Because of everything going on at the same time, I was in a position that I needed to, because I separated, I needed my own place. So how are you going to get the bank loan when you don't have a job, right? That. So I started running in many directions. I started running in 2021. It was all about, but first of all, I found my mission and I got a lot of attention. At the same time, I needed to get myself a job so I can get an apartment. So I, go ahead with the separation. Too many things going on in my life at the same time. But I fixed it. I did everything. I got myself a temporary job. I got a bank loan. I got an apartment nearby. We are still very good friends, me and the father of my son. So we we live like 100 meters from each other, and everything works very well. But because we worked on it, we fixed it, right? I started running in 2021. I wrote a book. In the same time as I arranged my personal life, I wrote a book. I built the mentorship program. I tested the mentorship program. I got amazing testimonials and feedback from my test students, six women from 5 countries. And I was like, yes. I was a bit crazy, Hector. I was a bit crazy. I was doing too many things. And I can share with you and the listeners that I didn't take care of myself properly. I didn't sleep enough. I didn't eat well. I stopped exercising. I didn't have time for social life. I only lived for my mission, and I lived for getting my life together, and I lived for my son. Because, of course, I'm a responsible mother, right? But I didn't take care of myself at all. And I think nothing could have stopped me at that time. I overworked. My family was worried about me. And then that's when it happened. So, sorry, that was a long introduction. That's when it happened. What you wanted me to talk about. I had an accident.
Yes.
In February last year, I went skiing with my son. And I'm not a skiing person. I come from Sweden, but I don't like cold weather. I don't like snow. But my son is very intelligent, both in his mind and his body. Very sporty boy. So anything he does, if it's football or any sport, he's brilliant. So I said to his dad that it's not fair that he shouldn't try skiing. And in Sweden, in my country, people ski. So just because I don't like skiing, I don't want to give that to him. So I put my big girl pants on and I took him and went north of Sweden, even though it's not my favorite thing, not at all. But we're going to go skiing for a couple of days and we're going to go some dog sledding, some, playing board games, some cozy week together. On our second day, we went skiing and we had an amazing day together. I tried to remember because I hadn't skied for like 20 years. And I put my son to ski school and, we had an amazing day, beautiful day. Then we stepped up a bit. We moved to the next level of slopes. We were in the green slope. We moved to the blue, a little bit more tricky. And we were doing amazingly well. Then we had the last heat of the day. We were going to catch a bus and we said, let's do one more because we had so much fun. And we're going to go with the lifts up. And I was going to help my son getting off the lift. He was 8 years at that time. I was going to help him off. But when I helped him off, this T lift is like a T. You have like the T behind you. So it got stuck to my jacket. So my son was down there, but it got stuck to my jacket. And I was dragged up to next, like red slope. It's called like in steepness is in level 3 out of 4, right? So I was dragged all the way up, and I got off. The last moment I got off, and that's not even the accident. That was a pre-accident. I got myself down on the bottom because I do not ski on a red slope. I'm not ready for that. I got down. I hugged my son. I sent him down, and I should have stopped myself. But I am such an optimist, I think I can do anything. I mean, we got to catch the bus, I didn't stop myself. How do I feel this moment? Because that was quite scary. No, I didn't. I went down and almost down I fell. I think that I was affected from what had just happened. I probably had a lot of adrenaline in my body at the time. Well, I could have fallen anyway, but I think they were connected really. And I hit my head. And to make a long story short, somehow I got myself down. I hugged my son. But then I was very, very sick. When I hit my head, it hurt. It hurt a lot. It was terrible. But I got myself down because, those of us who are parents, we do, when our children are involved, we do anything. We get this superpower. So I got myself down. And then, I'm not going to go too much into details. I went by ambulance, and then 40 hours of memory loss. And it turned out I had a subarachnoid brain hemorrhage, that's brain bleed. And that's serious enough. 50% people that this happens to die instantly. So it's a serious thing. After 3 days, I think it was, I was flown to Stockholm, to the capital of Sweden. And then they found, because it wouldn't stop, they found a source, which was an aneurysm, cerebral aneurysm. So it went from being very serious to being super serious, because it's a broken blood vessel that you have in the brain. And,
Yes.
and in my case, it was hidden deep within the brain. So it's serious, but in my case, it was hidden deep. It was almost not accessible, but you have to do the surgery, because you don't do the surgery, it's going to rupture again. And then it's very lethal. I think they told me that, we have to do the surgery. And they didn't know how to do the surgery. So they went on for weeks, actually. I was at the hospital and I was very afraid. And I was open on Facebook. I didn't say that. I didn't say how dangerous it was, but I said, I'm at the hospital, please help me. And the whole world would send me prayers. The whole world. I know you also sent me a message. I saw it down on WhatsApp before. You and Isabel sent me a message too. And I received so much prayers and light from around the world. And I believe that it helped me. I really believe that helped me. So the night before my surgery, about 3 weeks after the accident, it was the night before my surgery, my son and his father visited me at the hospital. And my surgeon came by and he said that we need to talk. And I understood that I cannot have this conversation with my son in the room. So I stepped out of the room. I was very weak. And he said, Sara, we're going to do the surgery tomorrow. And you need to know that there is a risk you will die tomorrow.
Damn.
There is a 50% risk that you will have a brain infarct during the surgery, and brain damage, or that you will not wake up. It was a surrealistic moment, Hector. I came back to the room and my son was there. I couldn't talk about what I just found out. And they were just about to leave. So I walked into the exit and my son was bouncing up and down, like full of life. He said, Mom, see you next week. And I was like, please, God, let me see my son next week. Let me hug my son next week. And I whispered to his father, I may die tomorrow. And he said, Sarah, you're not going to die. I said, no, I'm not going to die. But just in case, surrealistic. Yeah. So that was like a very strong experience. I went back and I called my family and I basically said bye to my family without saying bye. I recorded the last video for all my followers without saying bye, just thanking for their support. And I prepared myself to die. I accepted that I could die. And I was okay with it. But deep inside, I had so much faith. And I choose to believe that I'm going to make it. That was my mantra. I'm going to make it. And I went to surgery. And the surgery was supposed to take 7 hours. A big team was waiting for me. And you know how long it took, Hector?
No idea.
3 hours.
Oh.
Instead of 7 hours.
Boom.
And I went, yes. And I woke up immediately after, actually, before they rolled me out, I woke up and I went to talk to the surgeon and he couldn't believe that I was talkative from like I'm now. A lot of energy. And then I was taken to this, after surgery, the intensive care unit. And the nurse, she was very strict and she had a hard time with me calming me down because I was just so filled with love and filled with joy and I couldn't calm. I mean, I was too happy, just, you have to be
Yes.
quiet, you have to rest. You had a very serious surgery. I said, yeah, I know, but I'm fine. And they still call me. Actually, the doctors still call me to this date. It's 1.5 years ago, and they still call me and ask me for the permission to share my case at medical conferences, because the thing is that I didn't only survive, I'm also among the 20% that recover fully.
Yes,
and I
we're
recover
talking about
fully
that. I wanted to mention so
physically
people understand.
only after a few months.
You had 60 to 80% chance of dying in that bed.
Yeah.
And then from the remaining percentage of surviving, there's 20% of fully recovery the way you did.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty insane.
Yes.
It's pretty insane. But I believe more than any, and I'm a living testimony of that this is so important, because I did certain things during the weeks at my hospital stay. I made myself laugh every day. I was so afraid. I was shivering from fear sometimes. I was crying a lot. But I made myself laugh every day. And that's one of the things that I did. I did several things actually to make an effort to keep my energy, to keep my happy energy, because I could have laid down in fetal position crying, right? But that energy is so important. The energy we have inside is so important.
Yes.
And in my case, to survive, it was important. Now, today, I work with communication, and energy is also very important when it comes to communication, when it comes to impacting other people. The climate that we have within, super, super important. And we can talk hours and hours about that. So our energy.
What an experience and what a message.
And our, lot. Yeah.
And that only made you stronger, because a lot of things happened after that.
Yes, Hector. A lot of things happened after that. And I believe that actually today, I believe that accident was meant to happen, because I needed to calm down. When I'm on a mission to contribute to a better world, and we cannot help others if we're not in a good position ourselves. First, we need to help ourselves. And
Absolutely.
Was I in a good place to do that? No, I wasn't. So I got help. Let's call it help, to get in the right place. So actually, after my surgery, I came home to the hospital in beginning of April last year. And I started working by the beginning of November. So I had like 7 or almost 8 months off, not doing anything but reflecting, resting, philosophizing, thinking, and digesting not only my accident, but everything I've been through with my separation and with my, crazy things that had gone on in my life. And I needed time. I needed time to calm down and to digest and to mature and to get ready for my mission. And then I came back in the beginning of this year, and boy, the story goes on, right? The journey goes on. And now finally the book is here.
Oh,
so
yes,
I had a 1 year break.
Show the you're listening, you might not see it, but when you watch this on the socials, look at that cover, from feeling unseen to speaking like a queen. That's a nice
and then the subtitle is 7 proven ways to communicate with impact. Exactly.
Nice.
So that is my book.
Talk a little bit about the book. Tell us about the book.
Yeah. No, the book is essentially what came to me towards the end of 2020, when I was hit by lightning, like I say, and I downloaded all that concept. These are the 7 steps that
you said there were 5
queen.
initially, and then you perfected the concept, initially. And now it's 7.
Exactly. Now there's 7. So I would say it builds on my 25 years around the world, really, and what I've learned from the best mentors and teachers out there. And it boils down to my concept. I'm actually looking in the book right now that I'm talking, even though I know it by heart. So the 7 steps, just to mention them briefly. The first one is inner power. I'm a mind trainer, like I mentioned before, and the foundation for communication queen, the foundation for confident, charismatic, and impactful communication, it starts within. Like, I started out by teaching body language and microfacial expressions, which is nonverbal communication. And that comes from within. The signals that we send out, they come from within. So we cannot be powerful in our communication if we cannot stop leaking. Some people think they can stop leaking. They can put this mask on. Yeah, I can. No, nobody can do that. We are all humans, right?
I like the
But what we can
concept of
do, we can we can work on our inner climate so that whatever we leak
leaking.
is going to be powerful, charismatic, positive, and it's going to impact people whether they want it or not, right? So that's what I teach. So the first module is and the chapter is about inner power. Second one is impact through shining your light, how you can increase your energy and your charisma. And there are many ways of doing that. And I go through that in that module or chapter. Then is about self-love. Self-love is a part of inner power, but I made it its own module because especially women, we struggle so much with that. And if we don't love ourselves, we cannot love others, and others cannot love us completely either. We cannot rely on others to fill that void. We need to fix that ourselves first. Do you agree with me, Hector?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, so there's a whole chapter on that.
Yes.
And then number 5, this is one of the added ones that didn't come to me initially. It's in collaboration with a leading voice coach, amazing senior voice coach. So how to use your voice, how to impact with your voice, and we can make our voice stronger, and we can learn how to speak with our brave voice, as she says. Patty Kennedy is her name. Then I don't know if you know her because she's from the Rockstar community that we share.
I might, for those who are listening, Sara and I got to know each other because we shared mentors back in the day.
Yeah, we share mentors.
Yes.
Well, we still do, I think. So
and
number
friends.
6,
mentors and friends.
Mentors and friends, exactly. Yeah, they have become friends too. Number 6 or number 5, sorry, is social skills. So become a social superstar is the name of the chapter. So you can perfection your social skills, and it's all about understanding that people in general don't communicate the way you do. We always think that people think and act like we do ourselves, right? All of us. That's the biggest mistake we can do in communication.
Yes,
so we need to learn how to adapt our communication to other people. You've probably heard of the DISC profile, Hector, have you? You can take a DISC assessment to understand your communication style. If you haven't, then I recommend it, DISC. You can Google it to make a DISC assessment
okay. That's
to understand your own profile and those of others. That's part of that module. Then next one is create negotiation, how to create more win-win situations, because negotiation is a big part of communication today. We negotiate with our kids, with our bosses, with our colleagues.
I freaking love.
Exactly. Me too.
Negotiation. I love negotiation.
And we can become more creative negotiation. A lot of us think that we got to win. But creative negotiators, they are actually great at building relationships, because you want to have a negotiation where you keep collaborating, right? So that's what I teach in there. The last
Can
one
I add something to that?
Yeah,
the negotiation, that because you touched on a very nice topic, making friends. There is one of my mentors in negotiation. Okay, it's a amazing gentleman. Chris Voss is his name. This guy was the chief negotiator for the FBI for about 25 years in cases of how do you call it when somebody's kidnapped? I lost the term. When you have people that they're kidnapped people and with guns. Hostage negotiator. Yeah, thank you for the word. Hostage negotiator. Amazing guy. This guy wrote a book called Never Split the Difference. And in that book, of course, he's a master in negotiation, but one of the things he teaches is exactly that the people that's in front of you, it doesn't matter how hostile the negotiation might be, it's not your enemy, it's your friend, because you both want to get to a point. So the only way to solve that negotiation, to get to a nice ending, is working together, or at least the illusion of working together, making the other person believe he's working with you, so you end up doing.
Of course, even that.
But yeah, it's working together. So yeah, I love that. This topic is amazing.
Yeah, actually, what my that's another. I have to mention his name. So his name is Jan-Åke Björk, because I have another guest. These are my 2 guest trainers actually on my program. So I've learned a lot myself about negotiation from my life experience, but he's a professional negotiation teacher. He's worked with negotiation on high level in Ericsson. He's lived on all continents. An amazing man. Anyway, Jan-Åke, he says that the best negotiators have one thing in common. Do you know what that is, Hector? What do the best negotiators have in common? Do you think?
Tell me.
No, take a guess.
The best negotiators have in common?
Yeah, what they have
a big smile.
Yeah, probably. They have great relationships with their neighbors.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, look at that. And I was laughing when he told me because I usually have great, but that's good. That's a good sign. Okay, so the last one, I actually incorporate where I started my entrepreneurial journey. I started with body language and microfacial expressions, and so I have included that as the last chapter and last module of my Communication Queen system that I teach. Is to be able to read, be more conscious about the nonverbal signals that those around us send out, so we can become more emotionally intelligent in our communication. So that's the last. So all of these steps will help women. Well, men will also benefit both from the book and from the pre-recorded program. Actually, it's just that I've angled it towards women, but it's all about communication, right? So any man listening to this, you can join it as well. Join the Communication Queen movement and become more impactful in your communication.
The Communication Queen movement. Where this next part I want to talk about it actually it's interesting because people might not they heard already that you traveled to 70 countries, so they might think it's natural, but where did the movement take you? Because you're
my movement.
You're not focused in Sweden, are you?
No, not at all. Not at all. I haven't been for a long time. Before we move on to that last part of our interview, I just want to share with you that the book, I'm Feeling Unseen to Speak Like a Queen, if you want to get it, is available on Amazon, amazon.com, amazon.co.uk. Is available.
To everybody listening, absolutely. Let me add to that. Anybody listening, we're gonna attach to. It doesn't matter if you are on whatever platform listening to this, or if you're watching on YouTube, Instagram, TV, Facebook, whatever it is, you will find in the description all of the information, not only related to Sara's, how to reach to her, but also to her book. All of the links, everything's going to be in the description. So please click there if you want to reach and buy the book. That amazing book.
Fantastic.
Because you're going to learn a lot.
Thank you.
So yeah.
And if you happen to live in Nigeria, we're going to go there soon. It's also available on in the Roving Heights bookstore, both in Abuja and Lagos, and
which is one of the biggest, right? If I understand correctly.
And there's in Lagos and in Abuja too. And also the last thing, be a communicationqueen.com. You can also get my book from there, especially as a PDF if you're into ebooks. And now, I mentioned Nigeria. So I've already revealed where the last part of our interview is going to take place. It's going to be in Nigeria. So, funnily, Hector, I've always had this invisible pull towards Africa, and I cannot really explain why it is like that. I have a master's in African studies. Amongst my degrees, I have my son, Ben, adopted from Ghana. I have lived both in Ghana and in Tanzania. And now I was pulled to Nigeria, or my destiny seems to be pulling me to Nigeria for some reason. A very, very exciting and fascinating country filled with opportunities. And, sadly, like with Africa in general, people have ideas because we're being fed with a certain image of Africa all the time. But I would say, and I keep posting positive things about Africa every now and then because I want to teach people, I want to share, well, not teach, but I want to share my impressions that may not necessarily be the same as the ones that we see in media every day, right? Of course, Africa has a lot of challenges, like many parts of the world have challenges, but we can focus on, like in life, we can focus on the good sides and the opportunities that are there. And Nigeria specifically is a country for it's a vast country, 300 million unofficially numbers, 300 million people in Nigeria, and 30 million people in Lagos. Now, that is unofficial numbers because the census, they haven't done census for a long time. So they themselves estimate that to 300 and then to 30 million. So imagine that, yeah? It's insane.
I cannot. Just Lagos has 10 times more population than my country.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's insane.
My country also has 10 million people. How many people live in Uruguay?
In Uruguay, I think right now it's 3.5 million or something like that.
Yeah. So you're even smaller than Sweden.
Yes.
Sweden is also a very small country, my birth country. So Nigeria, I initially was pulled to Nigeria because remember I shared with you that I was invited to be co-founder of World Women Organization, and that happened already in 2020, right? End of 2020. And now I've been to Nigeria 3 times. Each time I've been invited to speak at the Future Women Conference. I've received a few awards over there. Most Inspiring Woman of the Year in 2021. And I think it was, early this year, actually, Women's Empower of the Year. So I'm very grateful and
Congratulations.
very honored for those awards. Thank you so much. But of course, it's more than conferences and awards. To me, Nigeria has become almost like a second home to me, and I become adopted actually by my friends. I have so many friends over there now, and there are, how many languages you speak in Nigeria? You know how many languages they have?
It should be about 30.
500.
Okay. Yeah.
500. So out of these
I got short on
500,
that one.
your guess is normal. I think most people would say something like that. So 500, but out of these 500, there are three main languages. So they are Igbo, Hausa, and Yoruba. So I have nicknames in each of these languages. But my first nickname is Omobowale. So that's what they call me, Omobowale. Even on national TV and even on conferences, I'm Sara Omobowale Nyström. And that means the child has come home, because I feel I'm one of them.
Oh,
Is that a beautiful gift? Beautiful gift.
oh my God, that's
And
so
now
beautiful.
that
It is.
yeah, it is really beautiful. And now the last time that I was there, I also, because I'm through the connections, I'm building a very high level network, and somehow I feel I have heart connection with many of these people. They are royalties. There is an archbishop, and they're really successful businessmen and businesswomen. And I was recently, now when I was there, I came back from Nigeria actually only 1 week ago, and I was given the immense honor to become chief actor. So I got the chieftaincy title. So now I'm Chief Sara Omobowale Nyström in
That's
Nigeria,
amazing.
and chief is it's a great honor. It's a old Yoruba system that is still accepted by the government. So in my case, it's purely honorary, obviously, but still, it's something that is reserved for people that are trusted, or it gives you it gives you a lot of honor. So I'm very, very grateful. So anybody from Nigeria listening to me now, all my love to you and to your beautiful country that keeps giving me so much, and I hope that I can give part of that back.
And you're positioning there, right? You're taking your life there, your businesses, and
Yes, I
your
am. I am
opportunities.
right now, because I'm just like, remember what I've said. I think I've said it throughout this interview, that I'm following my heart. That's something
Yeah.
that I started doing in 2020, and I have done it ever since. And that's why I think my life is moving on very fast right now, because I follow my heart and I do what I believe I'm meant to be doing. Then we get help. We get help because we are connected to our purpose. And that's why also I can sense that a lot of these powerful, influential people keep showing up, and they keep supporting me. And so we are building this powerful team now in Nigeria. I have my business manager in Nigeria. I just printed my book in Nigeria. And of course, I'm not only going to work in Nigeria. I have certain focus countries. So we are looking at now initially to focus on Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, and Pakistan, India, and United Arab Emirates, big English-speaking countries, right? Because I cannot do the whole world. I would love
At
that
least not
at
in the
once.
beginning.
And no, I can do the whole world, but not the beginning. So we're
Yeah,
starting out with
yes.
certain focus countries, but Nigeria is definitely the one that I begin with, and I'm thinking that it will spill over, because I met the president's ex-president's wife, and of course, at that level, and also we have a common friend. We are
Yes, we
both
do.
connected to Olori Queen Ronkeli. Let's see. What's the last name?
Ademiluyi.
Ademiluyi.
Ademiluyi,
And
yes.
I had an amazing meeting with her, and we are discussing right now, how to collaborate to lift women in Nigeria and around the world. So I'm thinking that people at a certain level, they of course have connections at that level in other countries. So it is my hope that it's gonna, keep spreading, keep on with that mission. So yeah.
That's amazing. That's incredible. And Nigeria is such a in Africa, Nigeria is one of the most influential nations, and the fact that you have such you are already creating such an impact in the it's impressive. So hats off
Thank
to you,
you.
congratulations.
Thank you,
And I think
Hector.
it's a
Thank you
really
so
and they
much.
have great people. They have great
Yeah.
people.
Amazing.
I mean, we have friends
Amazing.
in common in there. I'm really happy for you over there. And when is your lunch?
Yeah, my launch, it will take because yeah, a lot of things going on now. The global online launch will be on December 5th. So
Okay.
that's when my program is going to be launched, because so far the book has been launched. The book was launched in October, and now we are looking at actually launching the pre-recorded Communication Queen mentorship program. So everybody can access that from December 5th.
So for whoever is listening, what does it mean, launch? They have access to a website, they can buy the pre-recorded videos.
Exactly. Yeah. So just a few words about my program, Hector, if that's okay with you. So
yes,
my
absolutely.
program actually builds on a specific philosophy, and I haven't shared that with you. You don't know about that, Hector, because we didn't talk about that. But I don't want to create, I'm really on a mission to, from my heart, help women and people, men to become more confident and impactful. And that is behavioral change. And when it comes to behavioral change, they cannot happen overnight. As much as I would love that, it can't happen overnight. So
Yeah.
I don't want to create another course where people go and they do all of it in 2 days. Yeah. And then they're like, super excited for a week or two. And then what? It's something that I call binge watching, like binge learning, like binge
Like a
watching on
series.
Netflix.
Like when people watch Netflix,
That's what we
yeah.
do, right? We do it, we consume it all. And then what? So I have
Boom, done.
designed my course in collaboration with a company called Maxi Effect. Marcus Carlson is a guy here in Sweden. Amazing, amazing concept. So he created something called the portion method. So the portion method means that you will get a little bit every 3 days. I decided I have an interval 3 days. Every 3 days, you get 10 to 12 minutes, or maybe it's 15 sometimes. And then you have some exercises, you have some things to think about. And then 3 days later, you get one more portion, like portions. So the program will take 3 months to go through like that.
Oh, that's
and
amazing.
Then you have possibilities to add, to keep building. I have more to offer, but this is the actual program that we're going to launch on December 5th. And the test persons that went through the program, they all one person gave me a 14-minute video testimonial, and they were all so excited. Can you believe that even during the program, like one of them, she actually increased her sales? Because 2 things happened, I think. First of all, she became more confident. So she started, but she also started valuing herself. So especially women, we often don't value ourselves. So we don't charge enough. So 2 things, right? Valuing yourself and then having the confidence to charge. And I know that you know about this too, Hector. This happens to men too, of course. But she increased her sales during the course of the program. So we all celebrated her, and many other things happened with this program. So yeah, thank you for letting me share that, Hector. And sincerely, from my heart, I really want to help, because what I've been given is not like I want to keep it to myself. I've been given so much throughout life, and I believe that the reason I've been given these things is for me to share them.
Absolutely. In fact, I want to piggyback into this last thing. The reason I be giving this gift is so I share them and attached to something you said earlier. That I want to interrupt you. I wanted to wait for the right moment. In regards of, in order to help others, we need to help ourselves first. And what I want to add to this is that I have this belief that everyone is, in bottom line, everyone is a good person. That's how I choose to see people.
Yeah.
The problem is that because most people, the vast majority of people, are not in a position to help anybody else because they cannot help themselves, they might go, or they might look as selfish or something. Example, if you put a video on TV, people watching the news, and they see this video of kids dying of hunger in Somalia, they will be like, oh, poor kids. Oh my gosh, that's so horrible. And the empathy will kick in. The moment that video stops, their empathy stops. because people cannot even comprehend the concept of helping others or moving a finger for the next person, because they're taking care of their own bills. They cannot even take care of themselves. They don't know how to look for other people. So the fact that you are doing all of this and you have gone through all of these struggles and this amazing path has blessed you with experience and with a vast amount of resources today, different type of resources, not necessarily material resources, that put you in a position that you can actually help people now. You're ready to help people and to spread
and
a message.
that is a gift. And with that gift, Hector, I believe comes responsibility. I feel like this doesn't happen to so many people, all the things like, and that's how I feel that I'm not meant to keep that. I mean, how can I keep it to myself? No. And that's why
it's an obligation. I see it as an obligation.
Yeah, I have to, and that's why it has become so important to me. Like my life has really, I've been obsessed, and maybe people around me have sometimes not really understood it, but I believe that when we connect with our mission like that, and it became so powerful to me that everything else, except for my son, of course, everything else for a moment stopped existing, because I couldn't. It's like almost like. Of course, I was in charge of it myself, but it almost felt as if I was driven to do this. Can you understand what I'm saying? Like
absolutely, 100%, 100%.
Because you've been there, right? You've been there.
Dude, this is if you open that door, I would not shut up for the next 3 hours. But it's funny that we get to this point because it's what we do. On my case, and I want to ask you about the topic, because it's a topic that is really close to my heart, which is crypto. I have built myself as a huge advocate for crypto and blockchain technology for the past 7-8 years. And it baffles me. We talked about this yesterday, how this is something most of the audience doesn't know. There's only like 1.something% of population that today uses crypto actively. There's another study that states that about 4% has used crypto at some point, downloaded a wallet or something, but active people using crypto is less than 100 million people, which is nothing, okay, compared to the 8-something billion of the population. But if you analyze the top 1%ers as far as income earner, people that bring the most amount of money, over $1 million a year or more, about 59 to 69, depending on the stats that you read, the analysis that you read, between 59 or 69 are in crypto. So it makes you think. It's not that if you look at the big picture, we could argue that crypto is the future. It's not the present, it's the future, because just a little bit of people uses it. But if we talk about the movers and shakers of the world, it is pretty much the present. Not even is right now. Because the other percentage is basically what is called old money, people from the oil industry, the old school investors, real estate, hardcore real estate investors that are not really interested in, but vast majority are. So why? So I want to change that. So I want to ask you, I know you are not into the space, but what is your view about crypto briefly for the people listening?
So, like I shared with you when we discussed previously before we came on air, is that I don't have experience. I would be like those 98% of the population. Like you ask me, I say, I don't know. I don't have an experience. But I will share something with you, Hector, and that is that what all those years of solo traveling around the world has taught me more than anything else is to be open-minded. And I am very open-minded when it comes to everything, when it comes to, meeting people with different religions or people in general, cultures. And I think that's the secret behind me connecting so well with people from different cultures, is because I'm open, right? So I lack knowledge. I think it's a bit scary, to be honest with you. And I understand that's my lack of knowledge, because things that we don't know about, they scare us, right? So I guess I'm pretty much like anybody else would answer this question. I don't know. I have a little bit of experience from Bitcoin, very limited, and not necessarily positive experience either. But I'm here with my open mind, and I think that even though I don't know much, I understand that somewhere there is a reason that all these successful people, the 2% or less, engaging, they're not stupid, right? They do it for a reason. So I believe that I want to learn more about it, and I don't want to miss any opportunity. So I'm going to approach this with openness. Like with anything else I do in my life, I want to be open to it, and not focus on my fear and my, I'm a bit suspicious. um, but what if I miss out, Hector? What if I miss out on an amazing way of making money? Because as you say, I believe that this is the future. Like Bitcoin used to be, like those who invested in Bitcoin before it became a thing, right? They are multi-billionaires today, right? And so these opportunities, they keep coming back throughout history, right? And so yeah, I feel like making money today is like most people in the world will not make money. Like most people in the world,
Yes.
they have now. I don't even talk about poverty. I talk about the average you know person working and getting money for that work, right? Poverty, of course, we're not even going to go there. Biggest part of the world to begin with is in poverty. But those of
Yes.
us that are fortunate enough to have an income, most of us will not make money. That is the truth, right? And so yesterday I watched a video that you sent me. You shared these statistics with 2% versus 98%, and it spoke to my heart because I think that you're onto something really important. I am also on a mission to contribute to a better world with what I am meant to be contributing with. Um, but our missions align in a way that both you and I we want to make the world a better place, right? So you want to
Yes.
make this accessible to people, like to regular people, right?
Absolutely. That's my mission.
Not
Because
this
let
not
me,
this top 2%, because these top 2%, well, they're already right. They're going to be fine. They're going to be more than
and
fine. But what about the
you're
rest?
working in a space now, African countries, that it's a perfect example of why crypto is important. I'm not gonna preach about crypto, but this is one
Oh,
thing. Yes, it is true that if we look at the amount of people that became millionaires because of crypto, is the biggest amount, in comparison to any other industry that has ever existed. Percentually, is the biggest amount of millionaires created in an industry ever in the crypto
mm,
space. But that's not the point. The point is this: sadly, today, one of the reasons why people has struggled moving through life, if their access to finances is lower, if they're under the poverty line, is
mm,
because everything is managed by the banking institutions. So if you have bad credit, or if you don't have money or whatever, then you're not part of the banking institution. You cannot have a bank account, that's an example. And if you have a bank account, then a lot of other problems appear. And you know this. A bank account opens up,
100%.
especially in the digital world. In the digital world, if you don't have a bank account,
Mm,
you're no one. It doesn't matter your ID. You don't have a banking system. You're not in the banking system. There's nothing you can do.
mm,
Blockchain technology eliminates that concept, and brings people directly to the user, brings money, finances directly to the users, besides many other advantages. So I want that. For
mm,
people,
mm.
and yeah, that's enough for what we're doing with. And the project, by the way, is called World Cup Coin, if you guys are listening. But there will be a time to talk about that in a different conversation. Anyways,
But I think
I
it's
just want to
I
thank
want
you,
to
Sara.
before you
Yes.
thank me, I want to
Yes.
thank you and congratulate you more than anything else to that project, because we talked about it yesterday, and I think it's an amazing project you're onto, and an important project. So all the best with that, Hector, and congratulations.
No, thank you very much, Sara. And again, now is my time to thank you for being here. I know you're a busy woman. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. And I know the message you have is important, so I'm gonna do my utmost best to support that and make sure that we put you in as many platforms as we can. I mentioned, for those listening, you know that we purchased recently a radio station in Argentina, so now we have a show that we're producing that's going to start every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's going to be a podcast talk show live, and we're going to bring you Sara, of course, when the show starts, because Sara speaks Spanish, so that's really, really good.
No veo la hora. Me encantaría. Muchísimas gracias.
Para
Nos
hacer el
vemos
programa
allá,
en
entonces.
Argentina. Okay,
Sí,
Sara,
gracias.
thank you very much for being here. It's always a pleasure to see you. And I don't know if you want to say some last words to the audience.
Thank you so much, first of all, Hector, for inviting me the second time, 4 years after our first interview. And thank you to the listeners for being with us during this entire interview. And the last words to you is that you are so much more beautiful than you may believe yourselves. Know that you are beautiful. Know that you are special. Know that you are enough. Even if you don't think so, you are.
Thank you very much, Sara. Thank you for listening to those words. Put them in your brain and sleep with them. So guys, for everybody listening, I'm going to switch to Spanish for the end. Gracias a todos por escuchar. Es un placer siempre tener estos invitados y ustedes escuchando hasta el final. Vamos a despedirnos en un nuevo episodio del podcast Jefe. Como digo siempre, sigan aprendiendo, sigan creciendo. Nos vemos en la cima. Chao, chao.
El podcast Sé el Jefe es dirigido y producido por Héctor Rodríguez Curvelo, editado por Producciones SEJ, con base en las Islas Británicas Vírgenes, y hecho posible gracias a WCC World Club Coin. Todos los derechos reservados. Nunca olvides que tú puedes ser quien dirige tu vida. Te esperamos en el siguiente episodio, y recuerda, nos vemos en la cima.